it's a disaster. The Monitor's final gift to the people he grew to love is the Bleed, a hidden limbo space between realities where what's left of the multiverse can take refuge.
It's an unstable dimension that exists outside the multiverse. Truly neither here nor there.
However, with the past and present existing simultaneously, there isn't enough resources. Everyone are living in a constant state of unsustainable crisis management.
Natural disasters are so common, it's big news when one's not happening.
As a result, there's a palpable feeling of bleakness. Everyone has lived way past their expiration date. All there's left is the hero's unrelenting hope that they can still somehow make it work and save everyone. But the truth is, in this mess, heroism is an unrealistic virtue because any solution requires accepting a high price. This is confirmed when Lex sacrifices multiple Earths to get more data on the Anti-Monitor, discovering he's made of antimatter, like his minions, so you can kill him with the combined power of 52 suns. It's a death sentence for Superman.
One life to save untold billions? I call that a bargain.
This leads to a last heroic hurrah from the Tomorrowverse cast, where the remaining plot points from previous films are used for this final attack. Jean returns with the Warbow to blast the armor. The ring John Stewart sent out finally return with his new core.
The legendary John Stewart, greatest of the Green Lanterns.
And Kara races to absorb the sun first, feeling at peace finally.
I should have died with Krypton. Every moment then. With you, Monitor, with Brainy, has been bonus time.
Her sacrifice and those of trillions works against the sole Anti-Monitor. The problem is, there's more. Of course, we know this is a crisis. The story isn't going to restore the status quo, it's going to reboot everything. So similar to Apocalypse War, we're all really here for the disaster porn and the rare exception where the heroes lose. But what interested me about the film's angle is how the actual conflict didn't matter. What matters is the idea of heroism as a routine. In superhero universes media, the concept of the quotidian is very noticeable. The quotidian refers to the state of being in which things are done in a taken for granted way. It involves the routinization of everyday life, both behaviorally and cognitively.
Lois Lane? The one Superman always saves?
The villain will kidnap the girl, either for an ultimatum or as bait. Costume heroes and villains are commonplace. The point is, superhero characters will do what they usually do in the stories built on routines and interactions that are repeated so often that they become traditions.
And the adventure continues.
As a quote from Bramlett, even though much of the world of the superhero is extraordinary and wondrous to readers, the characters themselves nevertheless have a day-to-day lived experience that qualifies as their own quotidian. In Crisis Part 3, the point of this constant disaster management is to make the superhero quotidian more identifiable, and then have it weaved into why a reboot must happen.
Something changing your mind.
The answer lies before the beginning, before the multiverse even existed.
Batman investigates John Constantine and sees the missing pieces between Apocalypse War and Man of Tomorrow. The first flashpoint came from Barry saving his mother. This flashpoint was produced through John orchestrating Darkseid's death, so he wouldn't have a chance to destroy everything. But in doing so, reality was shattered into two, one with Darkseid, one without him.
This man is from an Earth that existed before our multiverse. One decimated by Darkseid, a ruthless intergalactic conqueror.
Darkseid was engineered to be one of the immutable pillars of the multiverse.
So significant was this creature, he was a fixed point in time.
So Constantine's attempt to erase a fixed point in time didn't change the universe, it shattered it.
Two universes, one with Darkseid, one without. But it didn't stop there.
Unfortunately, the universe wasn't designed to support infinite variations of itself. The multiverse is a cancer, and it's growing. Ultimately, reality itself must collapse.
Thus, the Anti-Monitor, in its act of pruning, isn't evil, it's nature. In the same way you can't blame rising sea levels on icebergs melting, the Anti-Monitor is just an antibody fighting the malignant growth of a cancer, where we were just witnessing it from the point of view of the cancer this whole time. This retroactively changes everything. Not only would preserving the status quo be wrong, but victory is absolutely not possible. All this time we shared with these characters, all these stories, Monitor's love for Kara,
I would give anything to save them,
Barry and Iris' sacrifice, Batman learning to accept his new multiversal family, all the time spent here was a mistake. Existing was a mistake. At first, I had a real hard time squaring what the f is the message of the story. Is the film condemning all life with this intense Anthropocene thesis? But the solution isn't to let everyone die, it's to save everyone by merging everyone. To use the wish machine from the Legion of Superheroes to reset the timeline into a monoverse. This is why we spent 3 movies featuring all these characters becoming neighbours across multiversal borders. These characters were always living a divided existence. They all missed out what they should have had.
It took the end of the world for me to let people in. What if it doesn't happen this time?
However, by being in one timeline again, they get a new world with everything while being sustainable. We're erasing life to give new life.
No. We'll find a way to bring back the worlds we lost. We can't just give up on all those people. We can't.
There was once an alien scientist whose entire world and culture were going to end. If he could have saved it, he would have. But he couldn't. So instead of vainly trying to save everyone, he put all his talent and energy and passion into doing what he could do. He saved his world by saving one person.
This interpretation of the universe is f***ing weird because we just had multiple high-profile DC media establishing the multiverse. James Gunn's DCU will also support multiple Elseworld properties. Furthermore, this animated monoverse isn't even a real unified monoverse because My Adventures with Superman and others will still carry on.
Are you in there?
So I'm just gonna treat the erasure of the f***ing DCAU as just one of those adjacent universes that resembles what we love, but isn't actually it, especially since it's a reality with a dark side in it. I can't wait for the Willa Cannon episode from Watchtower Database now. The multiverse being cancer is not a company-wide declaration. It's an entirely insulated internal event and statement, which coupled with the fan service actually creates a really weird anxiety. But I believe there is a purpose to the anxiety of being like, oh shit, is everything gone? The Crisis trilogy is built on the understanding that the quotidian is at the heart of everything.
What happens to me in there?
A mystery.
Will you even know I'm Superman?
Clark, if there's a Lois Lane, she'll figure it out.
Superman will be there. And part of him will be you.
Mom taught me that love is beyond experience.
That's all I need to know. See you on the other side.
That's why a jewel thief can marry a vigilante.
Where the DC animated movie universe ended with characters chin up, waiting as oblivion consumed them, none of them knew what was ahead. They could only face it with dignity and hope it will be better. Crisis ends in contrast, the characters walking into oblivion with faith and knowledge of what's ahead. It provokes a very different feeling, where you can take comfort in your own faith, in what we usually take for granted. As Spectre explains,
perhaps this time I can offer hope.
Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 is the end of the Crisis on Infinite Earths trilogy, which marks the end of the Tomorrowverse, and is also a direct continuation of the DC animated movie universe, so that's technically getting another ending. Furthermore, multiple beloved DC anime shows are seemingly retroactively included in this tapestry, but I don't think anyone's going to consider it canon. This film is the final chapter to a lot of things, but at its core, is really a hopeful message about looking forward into a future filled with promises made by characters who can never truly die. They only get rebooted. That is the quotidian of the DC universe.
Silent music and shimmering gold, strangers feeling about to explode. I held my breath to make sure I didn't say something weird. Light as a feather on weekend knees. What on earth did you do to me? I let you in before I even knew who you were. Your hair was
So I was gonna make this video on the day I watched it on, I think, Wednesday, I believe, but I decided against it because I was pretty pissed off by the erasure of the DCAU seemingly, so I actually needed some time to cool off and work on the boys video instead. Then when the general consensus was that everyone was kind of confidently saying, yeah, that's not the DCAU, don't worry, I was kind of like, oh, okay. So then I took a few days to unpack what actually thematically interested me in the film, and that was the quotidian stuff. I think I'm also probably the only person who actually not only seemed to enjoy the Tomorrowverse, but this Crisis trilogy. These films, with all their low budgets and incredibly dragged out run times, I think captured something I always wanted these movies to have more of, which are quiet character moments as opposed to featuring loads of action scenes set in empty streets, because the budget of these films have always been pretty low. I kind of just love all the quiet and small moments, the focus on creating a mood as opposed to constant excitement. Characters just get to sit and talk. There's long moments of silence, moments of just striking images. I really hope these films carry on, but considering the fact that there isn't any news on what's coming in 2025, I'm guessing either this entire line will either just become adaptations of popular and safe stuff like Watchmen, maybe V for Vendetta and stuff. There probably won't be another one of these sort of DC animated movie universes, but James Gunn did say that these movies would potentially run parallel alongside his, and he's totally cool with that, so I don't know. These movies do make money, they are profitable, but not that much. So it's really kind of a matter of if David Zaslav or any higher up realizes, is it worth paying pennies to make pennies? Because you could just outsource everything. But regardless, I felt kind of emotional watching this movie at the end when I realized, oh damn, like this could be the end. These films have been with me since I was in primary school, you know, with Batman, Mystery of the Batwoman, and they're still with me as this largely ignored little portal to these characters, where even when there's no movies or other anime shows around, I always really enjoyed visiting these films and paying attention to them, as the only person who did. In other words, these films did also fit into my own quotidian.
What? What?